Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 One Club story from Hemel Hempstead Town with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 122, and come the end of this episode, we could theoretically be in a Europa League final, our first European final of the series, and we could also be very close to the top four and reaching Champions League football for the first time. It's been a very difficult season at times. We've had frustration in domestic cups, we've had spells of patchy form, we've had some difficult injury news too, but at the end of it, we have got a side that we can be very, very proud of. It has been a strange season in the Premier League. Chelsea, City, Arsenal all struggling. Tottenham and us making a big dart into the top four where it seemed impossible previous. But if you're looking forward to finding out if we can complete the job as we go to one of our head coach clubs from this year, Crystal Palace in the Premier League, and then face the second leg against Marseille in the Europa League, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from two long-term stories. We'll be back again with the Helsingborg save tomorrow as we chase the end of our first season in that one rather than the 14th as we are here. You can find a playlist for that one in the eye above, as well as the head coach where we had a stint managing Crystal Palace. There's also links up there to the Twitch channel, the football podcast and the merchandise store too. You can support the show as a channel member down below by clicking the join button. But let's get cracking with a very important episode, because this could be save defining. I know I've said that 2 or 3 times throughout our 14 years. But if we can get into the Champions League at this stage, with it coinciding with us moving into a new stadium too, would be one hell of a remarkable effort. We mentioned that we had the easier Europa League semi-final, and it seems to have been proven that way so far. And we've also picked up a couple of crucial wins against mid-table sides in the Premier League. So Stoke we beat 1-0 with that slightly rotated team after the Bilbao game. We got fortunate, to be honest, because we had 6 days off after. We had 4 or 5 who managed to stay fit anyway. So although there were a few missing out, most notably the likes of Rika, Arlan, they were the 2 key ones. We also missed out from Jura at the back, but we still look pretty strong overall. We got the result through Mailton's first half goal. He is now, though, injured, unfortunately. Might not be back before the end of the year. At home to Southampton, we won by 3-0. Mario Ricca well rested and came back with a brace. A goal for Tyrese Ricketts off the bench too, who I think is probably overtaking Torres now. I think he'll start next season as our first choice striker. And then away at Marseille, a 4-1 win. The only blot on the record was an injury to Mailton. Early in the second half, it did look like it might go wrong, but Tyrese Ricketts turned up with a hat-trick. And Mario Ricca, of course, got himself one as well. So we now go to Palace with the option of probably resting our first team against Marseille in the second leg. And it means we can really focus on the 3 Sunday fixtures in the Premier League. Where the Europa League final falls, I won't know. We're not going to assume that we've made it just yet. But after that horrible run we had at the end of January and throughout February, we've had 2 months this season where we didn't win a game. And we're still in this position. It's an incredible effort. So for now, we go to Crystal Palace, relying on our first team. And after Thursday night, I'm waiting with bated breath to see who's going to be fit. Chelsea are drawing 0-0 away at Everton. That's not too important for us today. The game we're watching out for is Southampton v City. Now, we got fortunate when we played Southampton because Maya, who's their star man, was out injured. He still is, so City will get that benefit too. And if they can win that, it'll be the same amount of games and 4 points behind, which means it's not over yet. If we can get the job done though before the Arsenal game, that would be an incredible finish. Let's go and get into picking our lineup though. Who's fit and who's not, according to the assistant. Please don't let it be too bad. Everyone's alright by the looks of it. So I think the only one that's not making it is Chauvin, who I really don't understand this. On a complete side note, by the way, but I've mentioned this a few times. 16 stamina, 17 natural fitness. He just can't stay fit. Has anyone got any ideas as to why? Because I really don't understand why with that natural fitness he can't stay fit when everyone else can. Like Delgado on the other side is no better in that regard, but somehow manages to stay fit despite having the exact same individual instructions, pressing style, everything. I really don't understand. Is it the extra going up for corners and that? I don't know. Might be something as silly as that. Of course, Mailton's out injured. Carlos Martin is in as our number 10 for today. Has made an impact off the bench in recent weeks. And I've gone for Tyrese Ricketts rather than Carlos Torres. He got a hat-trick in midweek. He scored a crucial goal against Southampton. Why would I not give him a chance today? It means our 11 in full is John Moore in goal. Danilo Jose and Delgado are the fullbacks with Jura and Hanifan as centre-half. Tell you what, Jura might be our solution. We talked about this world-class centre-half. He's a wonder kid. He's now staying fit. He's got a good personality. And more importantly, he's still improving too. So keep your eyes peeled for him. We've got Arlan and Du, Moreira and Martin, the midfield diamond today. With Ricker alongside Ricketts up front. The likes of Torres, Coronel, Louise and Striker on the bench. De Vitter's back from injury too. This is a strong squad. And it's going to need to be as well. Because Palace will be a difficult game. As into a crucial Premier League match we go. No familiar names in that starting 11 there. We are almost into the territory now of most of the real players being gone. I know they've got that Norwich centre-half there, who I can't ever pronounce the surname of, and I'll apologise for it. Joe Gelhart's still there on the bench, but there's not many others. They've made 2 changes overall. Christian Flores drops out. Someone we had in this save, of course. We know him very well. He went for big money, but he was an excellent player. So we're asking the lads to prove a point. We're going to get through the tunnel interview. And if we can win this one, I think the top 4 is virtually secured. We'll keep a very close eye on the City game as well. So let's keep the scores up there. Not sure if it kicks off the same time though, as we've got a knock to Carlos Martin. Not the player we want off injured, given the fact that Mouton's already out. But we have got Louise on the bench. Coronel can change shape. Torres can even play number 10. So with a quarter of the game gone, I'm not going to panic yet. As here we come with Delgado, throwing on the left-hand side to Ricketts and Moreira. Lovely ball to the back post towards Ricker. Knocks down for Danilo Jose. What a strike! First goal of the season for Danilo Jose. Absolutely mad. He never scores. He never ever scores. And he has just put a rocket in from 25 yards. 36 appearances this season. 20 of them starts. And he turns up with that at the biggest moment. In fact, he's not scored for 2 years. He didn't score at all last season in 51 appearances. The season before that he scored 2, but he has not scored since the 32-33 season, and he's turned up with an absolute rocket. And what's even better, you may have noticed, Southampton lead City. The top 4 could be virtually wrapped up today as Barris heads away for Palace. Let's not get too excited. There's plenty of time to go, and this is a good side as Russon on the left to Barris. Out wide to Sutcliffe again. Playing some nice passing out here. And now Danilo Jose has got to do his defensive work. He's been caught out as Russon gets it in. What a save! The flag goes up for offside. Moore wasn't to know. It hit the post. It looked like then it was going in. And Moore somehow readjusted to keep it out. That's phenomenal. As Moreira goes to Ricketts. And I know we've got all of these big names as we'll come back to this point. And Ndu's in here down the right. 3 in the middle. Goes back to Jose. Crosses in. Sutcliffe heads away. And it's cleared away by Palace. Who get up to halfway with Hooper. They work down the left. But it's back to Russon and Sutcliffe. And you can see how quick we're back in that shape. The lads have really got their tails up now. And they know there's something big to play for here. Though Sutcliffe gets away down the left-hand side. Crosses into the back post. It's overhit. But Kamara keeps it in towards Muniz. It's a great block from Jura. Corner kick. We'll take that given the position we were in. 10 minutes to half-time. It's going to be an in-swinging corner. The Southampton goal was Adebayo Haruna as well. Another former player. Oh, everything is stacking up for us here. We're up to 3rd as it stands. As Moore makes another cracking save. Muniz has got in a couple times too many here. But John Moore, the man I'm going to focus on in a minute, has just been an absolute start. As the corner's in, Danilo Jose heads away. What a start to the game he's had. And he's into Barris, 30 yards out. Palace have got the men over out wide. We've got to stay firm here. And Jack Hannafan does just that. Headed away, and it stays 1-0, despite us only having 1 shot on target. What I was saying before that highlight, though, is that John Moore, despite all the other big names and superstars, is arguably the story of this save, because he came in for 750 grand when Hayes rejected us for Wolves the year we came up to the Premier League. And he was an average goalkeeper, really average. He's now become an England international. He's now become an absolute world-class star. And he's one of the best keepers in the league. I think he's probably the story of the save overall, certainly in the Premier League years. Maybe you could argue Ricky J. Jones or David Gregory prior, but the goalkeepers we've had here, bar Ryan Boot in League 2, have been absolutely phenomenal as Jura intercepts a long ball forward. Moore hoofs downfield and Ricker will chase onto it. Barris heads away to Sutcliffe. Over the top to Muniz. It's a poor bit of defending from Jura. And that's 1-1. And again, you talk people up. You talk about someone being a solution. And Jura has conceded a really poor chance there. It was a missed header. John Moore's beaten at his near post. Two men that I've talked up, letting us down big time. You've got to say Palace have deserved it. It's a little like the Norwich game. We'll be happy with a point because we're getting absolutely battered. But with 25 to go, this is where the fitness issues come. The players that played in midweek really struggling to stay up for it, really struggling to stay in good shape. So I'm going to take 3 of them off. It will be Peebles for Delgado, Arlan for De Vita, and Du for Coronel. And ideally, I'd like to take Ricketts off too, who's not having a good game. The same for Martin with his knock, but we've got to go for fitness over everything else here. 25 left, still 1-1. We're going to encourage the lads and hopefully have a big finish to come. As we're back on the left-hand side with our substitute fullback Peebles, who's not had a lot of football in recent weeks, but is doing well so far here. I say as he gets caught in possession, I've got to stop talking, haven't I? I need to sit in silence or I'm going to cause us problems here. Kamara down the right into Hooper. Just off the top of the bar and over. Just blow the final whistle. I will take a point right now. Southampton are beating City. Haruna's been the hero. We just need the point. Let us go home with it as Jura picks the ball up to Peebles. Long ball downfield towards Ricketts, who's had an absolute shocker, but he loses out in the air and it's back to the keeper. Correa can get the ball. He'll probably go long here because they've got a big threat over the top of Palace. He's taking his time about it. Maybe they're happy with a point too. Hooper loses out to Jose in the end, but it's back down the line to him. Cuts it inside to Gelhardt. He's through 1-on-1. Oh, it was always coming. And it is something we've got to talk about with the European hangovers. The weeks where we've played our first team, we've really then struggled to react. We stumbled over the line against Stoke. Here, you can see we ran out of legs in the hour mark, and they've battered us ever since. As Maniza's got a free kick, it's over the bar. We're going to demand more. We're going to go attacking. We've got 5 minutes to save the game. Southampton have gone back ahead with 5 minutes to go. City have equalised in the 93rd minute. And from what looked like a really good day at the office, our Europa League run has probably cost us on that occasion. So definitely the backup team against Marseille in midweek. And it's 2 cup finals to wrap up Champions League football. Of course, we could do that by winning the Europa League too. But we know we're going to get a very strong side if we get to the final. So we'll be back in a moment to face Marseille. That game probably becomes more important given the result we've had today. You know those moments in Football Manager where you make a catastrophic error and it's the sort of thing that you wouldn't be able to do in real life? Well, I've done one of those because I thought on Tuesday I'd unselected everybody for the under-18s team, and in fact I'd selected most of them. So the likes of Jovan, De Vita, Egan, Leacock, Martin, Harrison all played, and they were all people who were going to start today. So this is going to get a little bit interesting now. Southampton and Dortmund are close in the other one. I'm not worried about getting through because I know we can do that. The issue is, what impact will it have on the league at the weekend? So let's see how many of these boys are fit. It's not too bad. A lot of the bench is still fine and a few of the squad players. But I'm going to have to adapt things slightly. Back in a moment to run through my chosen 11. Well then, we're back with perhaps a slightly stronger bench than we'd like to have today, but generally we've still been able to do what we wanted. There's 2 players that played in the 18s game who aren't too bad in terms of fitness, which are Jovan and Harrison. They'll both start today. David Wilson has been promoted from the 18s. That probably would have happened anyway because of the injuries we've got, but he might not have started. He probably would have been a substitute. The rest of the side though, only Arlan I've had to play who I didn't really want to. The rest of it is basically the reserve team anyway. So we've got Josh Hayes in goal, Jose and Peebles the fullback with Striker and Jovan at centre-half. Arlan, Louise, Coronel and David Wilson the midfield diamond, with Harrison and Torres up front. The likes of Dolna still there on the bench if we need to make a backup change, but the rest of it is basically first choice. And that's where things might get a little tricky. The only one rested from the squad completely is Rickett and Ignacio Jura. And we've also got a few that didn't make it. So Egan, Leacock and De Vita, we know they all would have been involved. What it does mean is we'll have to tweak things slightly on Sunday. But for now, it's still a largely backup side. With a 4-1 aggregate lead, it shouldn't really go wrong. Well, despite my moments of stupidity, we are potentially 90 minutes away from our first European final, and we should be in celebratory mood. Brian Mbuemo is part of the Marseille side today, and Claudio Gomez. The rest of it, probably mostly regens at this point. To be honest, they weren't very good. They had a long ball on the counter and a couple of quick attacking tricky players. but they didn't have a great deal in open play. We battered them and thoroughly deserved our win. Albeit the goals came late, we dominated the game away in France. So here, we'll be hoping that Kenilworth Road hosts its last European game, and what a moment it could be as David Wilson comes forward. Youth Academy star to Torres, back to Louise, to Torres, to Harrison, to Danilo Jose. Give Kenilworth Road a perfect send-off. Harrison into Torres. There you go. Let's see VAR chalk that one off, because if it doesn't, Torres has got himself in the score sheet and we have got ourselves into a Europa League final. The goal's awarded after 3 minutes. And I think we're going to make it. It's what happened against Bilbao, wasn't it? We scored in the 3rd minute. We never looked back. The same is happening here. Kenilworth Road getting the perfect finish in Europe. And the new stadium, well, it might well be hosting Champions League football. It's getting close on both fronts as Gomez goes through to Mbuku. And we might have got excited too soon. It's 1-1. Not good defending at all. He's got in on that channel where Jasinovic was. And it wasn't the best defending in the world. 10 minutes gone. 1 apiece on the night. 5-2 Hemel on aggregate. Well, Jovan, in addition to not being fit at the start, has now managed to pick up a knock, which doesn't bode well for us. We might see a little bit of Jura or Hanafan, isn't it, who's on the bench soon, as Bellardi gets it at the back to Diop. He goes back to his keeper. See, Marseille have gone for a back 3 tonight. They tried to match us up with a diamond in the first leg, and it didn't really work. As here is Jovan. I'll wait and see what the injury is in a moment before deciding whether he comes off or not, as Louise plays into Harrison. Back to Jose, who was almost the hero on Sunday. To Louise again. To Wilson. He's had a good start in that number 10 role. To Torres. To Louise. It's very compact in there, as Marseille still playing tight in the middle. To Harrison. To Danilo Jose. And Louise, the youngster. Inside to Wilson. The striker's running off him. Torres one. Harrison the other. Into the box he goes. Beats the keeper. That is a classy finish from Harrison. We had a debate in the comments at the start of the season. Was he good enough to be a key part of this squad moving forward if we reach the Champions League? Well, he's barely played outside this competition and he's got himself 10 goals for the year. So I don't think we can complain too much. He's really solid. He's still 3-star ability. I think he's our 4th choice for the long haul as Louise. Back to striker. And Louise again to Danilo Jose. Having said that about him, he and Jasinovic will probably have to come off now after playing last night as well, as Peebles gets it on the left-hand side. Back to Jovan again, into Arlan, to Louise. He'd be the 3rd sub I'd like to take off Arlan, as he is the 1st choice player. Torres in down the left though, to the edge of the box, back to Harrison. Oh, he's having an absolute dream. And now he's going to be annoyed at me, because I'm going to take him off on a hat-trick, because I see his importance here. And I don't want people picking up injuries. He and Jovan are really struggling for fitness. And after 2 goals, I'm probably going to have to take him off. Especially with Harrison. We've got Dolner on the bench who's fully fit. So I don't think we're going to give him much longer. 3-1 on the night though. 7-2 on aggregate. We're reaching our first European final in the ultimate stylish fashion. As Danilo Jose's got a free kick on the right. 10 gone in the second half. Harrison gives it away. That was a tired pass. I'm going to make them in a second, I've decided. As Mbuku's in behind, he scored the first for Marseille. Might well score again here. Hayes to the rescue with a brilliant save. Let's see out the corner, then we'll make our first 2 subs, because those lads are running on empty. As Munoz puts the corner in, outswinging delivery. Diop's up unmarked. And Josh Hayes makes a fabulous save. Doesn't matter what keeper plays, they're all absolutely brilliant. So we're straight back with a corner at the other end. Coronel puts it in to the back post. It's hacked away. As far as Peebles on the halfway line. You can see actually we've not been great today. Just a brilliant goalkeeping performance and 2 great ones from the strikers. The rest of the team's been pretty average as Arlan finds Jose. Chips up towards Torres. Into the box. Great first touch. Cuts it back to Coronel. He turns onto his right foot to Louise. Lovely touch. Just over the bar with a shot. Let's make the 2 subs. Dolner and I think Chauvin, who was rested at the weekend, will come on. And we'll leave it for another 10 minutes or so. And then Arlan, hopefully, can have a little rest as well. Well, almost 65 on the clock. Arlan will be off any minute now. I'm not too worried because the other 2 lads should be fit for Sunday. They're both good holding midfielders. But we do want to keep our first 11 if available. As Luis switches left towards Torres. Gets in behind again. This Marseille side. How on earth did they get to a semi-final? They must have had a better side of the draw. I know they squeezed past Hearts in the quarters, but they're not a good team. They're much worse than Bilbao. They're much worse than Juve. They're much worse than Dortmund. And they're much worse than Southampton, who are of course battling out for a place in the final. A striker finds Peebles at left back. Who are we going to bring on for Ireland? That's the decision we've got to make. We can either go Delgado, we can go Ndu, or we can go Moreira. We're going to have to make that decision in a moment as Mbuemo picks the ball up to his centre-half. The back three just hasn't worked for Marseille, that's got to be said. And we've got to repeat scoreline from the first leg. Can we get to 10 on aggregate, or am I getting greedy? As Mbuemo in centre midfield goes back to Bellardi. He can come forward, but no real pressure on the ball. Al Hamawi out to Gomez on the right. Takes on Peebles. He's probably going to beat him as well, to be fair. Gets to the byline. Cuts it back to Koulibaly. Chance to cross for Marseille. They have got an attacking threat here. And Gomez can deliver. Is someone going to put the cross in? He does. Munoz heads just over. And with 20 minutes to go, Arlan will come off. I think it's probably going to be Delgado. He'll just sit in that holding role. We'll try and see out the game. Well, 15 left on the clock, and it's the Marseille keeper who has the ball just outside his own box. Big long clearance which Chauvin heads clear, and Danilo Jose inside to Luiz, to Dolna. What a moment for him to play in a European semi-final after years out on loan, but it's the other striker who is the centre of attention. Carlos Torres in, he's found form on the big day, and he gets himself a hat-trick in a European semi-final. David Wilson in behind him, playing a creative role there. And this is turning into a real star performance. 5-1 on the night. What a way to reach the final. We'll find out in a moment whether it will be an all-English one. Hopefully for our sake it is, because if Maya's still injured, we would be the favourites. But a 5-1 win on the night, that was emphatic. It was almost a little bit underwhelming after the Bilbao game, which was so close against a world-class team. To then have that was a little bit of a walkover. Let's see who we're going to be facing though. It is a big moment, a European final for Hemel Hempstead. 14 years in, and we will be facing Southampton. Not many people would have said that at the start of the save. Southampton versus Hemel Hempstead Town, an all-English final in the Europa League. I think you know what we're going to be back for. The good news for us is it takes place on the 31st of May. It's at the Juventus Stadium as well, but crucially for us, it's a week and a half after the season, so we can play the first team against West Ham and Arsenal with no worries other than injuries of what's going to happen after that. But we are in prime position to get to the Champions League. That could be via a top 4 finish if we squeak above Arsenal and City who have had poor years, or ultimately we could win the Europa League final, because don't forget, whoever wins out of that is going to get Champions League football. If it's Southampton in 9th place, that could put us in a spot of bother, despite being in 4th place. I'm not sure how that works out. If you're looking forward to finding out and you did enjoy this episode, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments which you think our most likely route to the Champions League is and whether we'll get there via either form. I'd say the league's still more likely because the other sides are so inconsistent. And of course, as we go to the Arsenal game, our destiny will be in our own hands. If you're looking forward to seeing it though, and whether we can finish the season in style and with a trophy of some form for the 3rd year in a row, then please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily FM22 content. We'll be back with our new Helsingborg series tomorrow. You can see that playlist up in the eye above. There's also a link there to the head coach, as well as the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and the merchandise store too. But above my head now is the new Helsingborg series. Please do give it a go if you haven't already. And I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time for our first ever European final.